So we all know like the big things in life that really screw a person up, you know, addiction, abuse, abandonment, all these type of things. But you know, there's actually a lot of like little things to our adult brain that happened as kids that just sort of stuck around, didn't get resolved, they lingered, and then they fester, and then you gotta rock up in your 30s at therapy to handle them. So how, as parents, can we help our kids through some of these smaller little things that don't seem like they're worthy of like taking our kids off to therapy, but yet we still know they really affected them and they're kind of have implanted and we need to do something about it? What do? I'm gonna tell you. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rachel Norman. By this I mean me. I am an author, a language of listening parent coach, a certified sleep consultant. I'm a mom of 5. I just do a lot of stuff, and my passion is helping moms have peaceful, happy homes with peaceful, happy kids. So let's get into how to help our kids resolve some of these little T traumas, I'm gonna call them, or some of the things that happen to them that can really cause a lot of problems later on. First, before I get into that, I want to talk about what makes something kind of become an issue for us and what doesn't. And the answer is this: if something happens to us and we make it about ourselves, this is when it gets bad. Let me give you an example. So your child could be in preschool or in kindergarten and somebody could just be really mean to them. Somebody could call them a bad name, okay? Your child could say, "That kid's mean," and go about their day. Okay, it's gonna hurt their feelings a little bit, but it's not gonna bother them that bad because they decided it was about that other kid. Now, a kid could say, "Oh, you know, they call me slow. I guess if I was better, this kid would like me. There must be something wrong with me." And that means that situation is going to really bother your child because your child has made it about themselves. Let's give another example. Your child is in school. These are just, I don't know why school's a good example. I think because situations that happen in front of others really give us exaggerated responses. So say your child's at school. This could be preschool, elementary, whatever, middle school, high school, okay? And they get called on to answer a question and they don't know the answer. And then the teacher gets them in trouble, right? You know, whatever, says a little something to them and moves on. The child could just say, "Oh, I didn't study, that's why I didn't know the answer," and then move on and next time study to try to be prepared. If this is the case, they'll feel a little bit embarrassed or maybe a little bit ashamed, like, "Ooh," but whatever. Next time if I'm prepared, I'll be okay. Or a kid could say, "I'm stupid. How did I not know that? I'm such an idiot." They could make that about who they really are. And now anytime they think somebody might call them this, they have a horrible feeling of being exposed because they're like, somebody's gonna find out how stupid I am. So this is the difference. I could give like a kabillion more examples. This is the difference between a situation happening and it kind of like implanting and jacking you up or not, okay? So this is when the types of situations we know we want to help our kids with are when something has happened and they've turned it around on themselves and we know we do not want them to go through life with that. So the first way we can help our kids resolve these like little T traumas, I like to call them, or situations that happen that can stick with them, and that is to be open and talk about things, okay? Not talking about things, keeping them under the dark, brushing them under the rug, secrets, pretending they didn't happen, trying to distract them. All of these things do not work. They just don't work. So like if it worked, okay, this is my motto. Does it work though? No, these don't work, okay? Because what they do is the child, whatever happened and the child decided, just stays inside and everybody else carries on and the thing stays, okay? So you wanna make sure you're able to talk about it with your kids. And sometimes when something happens, honestly, even as adults, we don't always know what's going on with ourselves. So sometimes kids can have a situation happen and it might be a couple of days, a couple of weeks before they tell you about it, right? But you want to be able to keep talking about it with them. Let it be open, not just try to say, "Oh, you're okay, you're fine. You're fine. It's not a big deal. Get over it." I'm going to tell you that also doesn't work. But part of why it doesn't work is because if we're upset and somebody tells us to be okay, what it actually makes us want to do is even more convince them I'm not okay. So if your child is like, "You know, I fell down at school today and I was really embarrassed." Again, they could just say, "I tripped over a rock. Oh well." Or they could say, "I'm so clumsy." And they could make it about themselves and now they've got a clumsy complex. So if you come at them and say, "It's fine. You fell. Everybody falls. They're gonna wanna come back and say, you don't understand. I was so humiliated. And then if you come back and you're like, yeah, but like you don't gotta be. It's fine. Then they'll escalate it because they'll say it is not okay. Or they'll just stop talking to you at all because they are trying to communicate. It's actually bad. Shut up. Take me seriously, right? So this is why we want to make space and we want to talk and not repress our kids to help them process what happens. The second way you can help your kid process these uncomfortable situations is to do say what you see. So say what you see is essentially just helping your kid feel understood and seen so they can process what happened. It might be like, you fell down. That was humiliating. You felt humiliated. And if it's a different situation, maybe your child's going through something with their peers, you know, you just feel left out, okay? You doing say what you see helps them get to what they really feel. Or if they're feeling very emotional, say it's bedtime, they don't want you to leave, they're like screaming, you don't want me to leave. You never want me to leave. Right? Say what you see is just literally saying what is happening. Okay? And then if you do that and you're wrong, they'll correct you. If you do that and you're right, they'll keep going. And as they keep going, you keep doing it until they can get down and really process what it is that's bothering them. This is how you help unearth things so that things don't take deep root in your kids and fester throughout their life. The third way that you can help your kids process little t and just help build them up and not let these things affect them is to do strategic playtimes. Now, this is a language of listening tool that we have, and actually right now I am going to lead starting on the 25th of September. No, that's the last day you can join. The 26th, I'm going to lead a group of mamas through this learning how to do playtimes in my program called Nurture and Play. So essentially, playtimes are a 30-minute, once a week time that you do with your child, maybe 2 kids at a time, you know, for like a couple of months each, and then you can rest and bring it back or do another child, where you learn professional skills. Now, this was developed by Sandy Blackard, who's the founder of Language of Listening, and she directly was mentored under Dr. Garry Landreth, who is a world-renowned play therapist, child-centered play therapist. And he taught parents how to do these types of things at home. And many therapists over the years have worked with language of listening moms, and Sandy who've done this have said, you know, if parents did this type of stuff at home, we really wouldn't see kids in play therapy as much, right? It's like when you do things at home to keep your kids healthy, they just go to the doctor less, okay? And the doctor is totally needed, but if you can keep them healthy at home, they don't gotta go there. So Nurture and Play, this is where we learn this 30-minute, once-a-week playtime using professional skills. They're evidence-based, you know, it's skills that play therapists use in play therapy, but you're not a therapist, right? You're mom. So you're gonna do these at home with your kids in this certain time. It's not just like sitting and playing Lego with your kid. No, you're using verbal strategies that help your kids go toward and dig out what is happening with them. I did this with the 3 of my boys, had actual breakthroughs, and I didn't realize what they were about until later. And afterwards I was like, oh my goodness, one of my kids, I call it claustrophobia, but it's when you're scared of getting stuck. He had this issue since he was 3 because we got the golf cart stuck. It was this whole thing. I mean, he would have a panic attack if even on a cartoon he saw somebody getting stuck. Okay, when I started doing playtimes with him, I really didn't know what was happening until after, and I looked back. He would get everything stuck in the Play-Doh, and then he would dig it out over and over. He had this pattern of getting things stuck, getting them out, getting them stuck, getting them out, until he resolved it and stopped. And I looked back and I realized, oh, since that time, he's never had an issue with getting stuck. He resolved it. This was like a little T trauma because we're like, we got the golf cart stuck in our backyard. We could literally get out of the golf cart and walk in. But to him, it became a thing. So I had another child. I mean, there's a lot of examples, actually. I give some examples in my podcast, which is a Mother Far From Home podcast. And it's titled Play Therapy at Home. I give some more examples there. But essentially, these times allow your kids to bring up what's going on with them. You don't even need to know. Like, you just can watch them do it, and you're there to support them. I'll teach you all about how to do this in Nurture and Pray. Nurture and Pray. You should also pray, but that's not what it's called. It's called Nurture and Play, and the link is in the description. The fourth way you can kind of help your kids resolve these little T's is to actually pay attention and notice if they're trying to escalate or take something underground. So you know how we say like, oh, half the world's introverted, half the world's extroverted, whatever. This is something similar, probably based on personality, who they are, their temperament, but kids can either escalate their behavior and act out, or they can take their behavior underground and act in. So this could be if they're mad or upset, they might take it out on you. They might yell and be defiant or be aggressive or run away or be loud or just refuse. You know, they're gonna fight, right? The trauma responses in this are kind of fight or flee, like I'm gonna get out of here, you know? The other way you can do it is you can take it underground. You can blame yourself. This is kind of like acting in. These are the phrases they might use in recovery language. So this is when you're like, you know, self-hatred, self-loathing, I can't do this, I'm horrible, I'm bad. Whereas the other's like, you're horrible, you're bad. Both of these are signs they've got some kind of challenge going on and they're trying to tell you. But now this is where you do not get down on yourself, okay? Because any number of things can make us feel crazy stuff. I remember my husband, he was in high school and they were playing around, he had flip-flops on, and some girl said, oh, your feet are sweaty. And instead of it just being like, yeah, because we're like playing soccer for 3 hours. They are. Thanks for pointing that out. Why are you looking at my feet? No, that's not what he did. Instead, it was like mortal humiliation. My feet are sweaty. I guess other people's feet don't sweat. Something is wrong with me. And he wouldn't even wear flip-flops for like years. I remember when we first got married and I was like, why you got socks on at the beach? Like, what's wrong with you? You're Australian. It was because of this one thing this girl said, right? So this is taking something in and making it about you, okay? So you want to watch out when your kids start escalating or taking something underground, okay? This is normal. We all do it. We cannot be so perfect in life that we don't have we cannot be such good moms our kids don't have issues. It's not true. It's never gonna happen. That's why the tools I share are not to make you perfect. They're to do what you're gonna need to do when life happens, right? So start noticing if they're doing one of those, and that's when you can come back in with the say what you see. You can start talking about it. You can bring it back up. You can do the playtimes, whatever, to try to dig in with this. The fifth way that you can help your child if you feel like they're going through some kind of little T something and you know there's some kind of issue or challenge that's lingering is to remain calm. This is where you're gonna remain calm. You're not gonna project this problem into being a future thing that's gonna land them in jail. Like this used to be before I did playtimes with my kids. That was actually massive for me in breaking enmeshment. It really was a huge deal. But before that, every little thing they did, I was like, this child's gonna end up a gang leader. This child's gonna end up in jail. This kid is gonna be a sociopath. I did Google, like my 2-year-old, can 2-year-olds be sociopaths? I don't even know. I was just so, every little thing I thought meant something very huge. And I would project that, my fears and my anxiety and my worries on them. And the truth is, kids act based on who they think they are. This is one of the language of listening premises. So if a kid thinks they are, you know, powerless, and then you say, oh, this kid, oh my goodness, oh no, I have to do all this for them. They can't do it. They are so sad. Like, they're very messed up. I had to help this kid. This child needs me. And we have that energy. We're actually communicating. It's true. You are very helpless, child, but mommy is here. Mommy will love you forever. And that's obviously true. We're gonna love them forever. But when we bring that energy, it's sort of saying to them, yeah, you're right. You're just powerless. And if they think that, that's how they act. So this is what I want you to, if something's going on with your kid, you're the adult, you have the fully formed brain. Yep, you're triggering, you're firing, you're activated. You're like, something's happening with my kid. What is it? I'm gonna do something. But you're gonna remain calm. You're not gonna put your own fears on them. And you're just gonna observe and you're gonna meet them where they're at. You're gonna do the things that I've talked about in this video and whatever other ways that you can support them emotionally. And in the process, by doing that, by not entering into the fear, you're gonna start to see that your child is capable and actually very clever and can come up with solutions and strategies. And you're gonna start to see the strengths in your child, and it's gonna take on a different feel. So now if my child is going through something and they're legitimately going through something, a situation's happened, or I can see they're struggling with a belief like I can't mess up, or, you know, I can't try too hard, or the failure will hurt too bad. All these normal things that happen when life happens, is I can remain calm and I can see the strengths in my child, even though they're going through this, and I can support them in it without trying to rescue them. Right? Because sometimes we need physical rescuing from something, but oftentimes we don't need to rescue our kids. We just need to stand by and support them. So I hope that I have encouraged you in this video that there is just a lot of ways we can help our kids meet their challenges. You know, we're gonna say what you see. We're gonna talk about it. We're not gonna just brush things under the rug. We're gonna do something we can do to support them at home, like playtimes or, you know, one-on-one time, just being with them, right? We're gonna observe, are they escalating? Are they taking something underground? And then we're gonna bring it up to the surface and talk about it with them. We're gonna remain calm so that we can support them. Even if that means we need to get support so that we can support them, we're gonna do that as well. If you liked this, you are gonna love my next video where I talk about how I think a lot of this information about parenting stuff has actually kind of crushed our intuitions. Check that video out next.